Leo, let me tell you something right from the start. A surprising piece of good news is on its way, and it will change everything. Not a small shift. Not just a better day. This is the kind of breakthrough that brings you to tears because you'll finally feel what it means to be seen, heard, and chosen by life. If you're here watching this, I'm not going to say it's a coincidence. Because it's not. Something guided you. And maybe that something is that deep part of yourself that has always known. You were meant for more than just survival. You didn't land here because of the algorithm. You landed here because it's your time. Your time to hear what your spirit has been quietly trying to tell you for weeks now. You're closer than ever to everything you've asked for. Your ruling planet, the sun, is in one of its most empowering positions right now. And for Leo, when the sun speaks, we don't just listen, we respond. This kind of cosmic alignment doesn't come around every day. And in my most recent readings, the card that showed up first for you was the sun itself. That's rare. When that card comes out for a Leo, it's not symbolic, it's prophetic. It means the light is not just returning, it's breaking through. And yes, that means something big is coming. For some of you, it's the opportunity you've worked your whole life for. For others, it's the emotional release of realizing you're no longer stuck. Either way, this video was meant to find you now. I'm not here to sugarcoat things or read from a script. That's not how I work. I've spent years watching patterns repeat in people's lives until the right energy comes along and shakes the whole system awake. I've worked with clients who doubted themselves for decades until one moment, one insight, one shift snapped them into alignment. That's the kind of moment we're walking into now. And Leo, if you felt exhausted, uninspired, or like life's been on pause, you need to hear this. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not behind. You're not broken. You've just been preparing. What's coming now isn't random. It's earned. So if something in your chest is stirring as you hear this, don't ignore it. You already know this message is for you. That alone is your confirmation. Now, before we dive deeper into the specifics, what the cards reveal about love, money, soul alignment, and the next 10 days, I just want to say this. Thank you for being here. Seriously. Every comment, every subscription, every moment you choose to show up and listen is not only supporting this channel Eternal Mindfulness, but it's amplifying the collective field we're building together. Your presence helps these messages reach those who truly need them. So stay with me. Because today's reading isn't just a forecast, it's a key. And I believe, with every part of me, that this message could be the shift you've been waiting for. If any part of you feels connected to what I've said so far, go ahead and confirm it in the comments. Let me know how this is landing for you. I want to hear it. I want this to be a conversation, not a monologue. This is your space too. Ready to see what the universe has in store for you, Leo? Then let's keep going, because what's coming next is nothing short of breathtaking. Leo, you were never meant to live in the shadows. You were never meant to hide your brilliance, tone down your passion, or shrink to make others comfortable. There's something inside of you, some ancient knowing that has always whispered, there's more. And now, that whisper is no longer quiet. It's a roar. A soft but undeniable pull back to your power. What's happening in your life right now isn't random. It's the return of your light. In your latest reading, 3 cards came out in perfect harmony: the Sun, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Emperor. Now, I've seen these cards show up in other readings before, but when they appear together, and specifically for Leo, something bigger is at play. This isn't just a message. It's a call to rise. The Sun card, your card, reminds you of who you are at your core: the light giver, the leader, the radiant soul who ignites joy simply by being present. But when paired with the Ace of Pentacles, we move beyond emotional illumination into something tangible. This is financial clarity, stability, new doors opening that you may have knocked on for years without answer. It's the moment when life says, yes. The Emperor, standing steady beside them, signals that this isn't a fleeting opportunity. It's structure. It's leadership. It's the part of you that's not only dreaming of abundance but ready to manage it. Now, from an astrological perspective, this moment couldn't be more aligned. Earth signs Taurus and Capricorn are forming trines to the Sun, creating a grounding force for you. These are not soft, subtle energies. They're foundational. They push you toward real results: promotions, investments, unexpected payoffs, or simply a stable rhythm that's been missing. You may feel like things are finally clicking into place, and they are. But what's equally important is your inner alignment. The law of attraction doesn't reward wishful thinking. It responds to consistency, clarity, and courage. If you've been showing up, doing the work, keeping faith through the dry spells, then let me tell you, this is your harvest. You didn't miss the opportunity. You've been preparing for it all along. There's a concept in numerology known as the 111 portal, a time when manifestation is not just easier, it's accelerated. When 111 appears, it's a divine green light. Not just to hope, but to act. Not just to dream, but to claim. You may have seen this number recently in clocks, receipts, license plates. Don't ignore it. It's your soul reminding you, your new cycle has already begun. Still, I know how easy it is to doubt all this when you've been in survival mode. When life has asked too much and given too little. That's why this isn't just about external success. It's about the restoration of belief. It's about you finally being able to exhale and say, I wasn't wrong to keep going. The truth is, the seeds you planted in faith, even the ones you thought were forgotten, are beginning to sprout. And if you've been walking through darkness, trying to stay hopeful while no one saw your struggle, then this message is especially for you. Because light is returning. Not from outside of you, but from within. Now, I'm not here to convince you. I don't need to. You can feel it. In your gut. In your timing. In the way you're suddenly remembering who you were before the world made you doubt it. That's the real shift. The outer success? That's just a mirror for the inner alignment you've already stepped into. If anything I've said resonates, comment below. I receive the financial gift the universe has for me. Let it be your declaration, your contract with what's coming next. Because what's unfolding now isn't just luck. It's alignment. And Leo, you are exactly where you're meant to be. Let's keep going. Someone out there is thinking about you right now, deeply, silently, maybe with a kind of longing they can't even name. And maybe, without realizing it, you've been thinking of them too. Not in a loud or obvious way, but in that quiet ache you sometimes feel when you're lying awake at night. That feeling that something or someone is missing, even if everything in your life looks fine on the outside. When the Two of Cups and the Ace of Cups appear together, it's not just a love story unfolding, it's a reunion of energy. It signals a time when connection returns, not to complete you, but to reflect you. This kind of love doesn't come from need. It doesn't demand you to shrink or perform. It recognizes you. It sees you without explanation. And for some of you, that might be the most healing thing of all. Maybe you've been through heartbreak that changed the way you trust. Maybe you've spent years telling yourself that love isn't a priority, or that you're better off alone. And honestly, sometimes you were. But healing isn't just about moving on from pain, it's about allowing yourself to receive something better, something gentler, something that feels like exhaling after holding your breath too long. This is the phase where those old, unseen wounds finally start dissolving. That little tension in your chest when someone gets too close. That flinch when you want to be open but don't know how. It's not weakness. It's memory. Emotional scar tissue. But now, something's shifting. The energy around you is softening, inviting you to let someone see the version of you that doesn't always have it all together and be loved anyway. From an energetic standpoint, Venus is active in your chart right now in a way that amplifies tenderness and genuine intimacy. And the law of attraction reminds us that like attracts like. So if you've been focusing on cultivating self-respect, emotional clarity, or even just being a better listener to your own needs, you're realigning with someone who will meet you at that same depth. But I'll say this from experience, both personal and professional, the relationship that changes your life doesn't always arrive in a grand entrance. Sometimes it begins with a simple message. A glance. A familiar voice that stops you mid-thought. And often, it arrives when you've finally stopped searching and started becoming. This isn't about desperate longing. This is about resonance. Soul-level recognition. And it's okay if you feel afraid to open up again. Courage in love isn't about never having been hurt, it's about believing that this time, it might actually feel different. So if you're ready to welcome a love that mirrors your depth, I want to invite you to do something simple. Grab a piece of paper. Write down 3 things you want to feel, not receive, not be given but feel in a relationship. Maybe it's safety. Maybe it's laughter. Maybe it's freedom. Then, every morning this week, read that list out loud. Not to call someone in but to call yourself back to readiness. And if any of this touched a place in you that's been quietly waiting, say it out loud right now. Or write it below in the comments. Say, I am worthy of a deep and soulful love. Let that be your energetic agreement with what's trying to find you. Because it's already on the way. And something tells me it's been looking for you, too. There's a moment, just before a big breakthrough, when everything still feels quiet. Still uncertain. Like nothing's moving. And then suddenly an email arrives, a call comes through, or someone casually mentions your name in a room full of opportunity. That moment, Leo, is the one you're standing in now. You're not waiting for the door to open anymore. The truth is, it already has. The Wheel of Fortune and the 9 of Cups didn't show up together in your reading by accident. They came as confirmation. What you've been quietly hoping for and consistently working toward is already within reach. The shift has already begun. Sometimes we forget that most of the work in manifestation doesn't look magical at all. It looks like showing up even when you're tired. Holding faith when the numbers don't add up. Believing that your voice matters in rooms that haven't heard it yet. But energetically, every bit of that effort has been logged, recorded, stored, accounted for. And now, with this particular alignment, especially as Jupiter activates your second house of income and values, there's a green light coming through in your financial life. This doesn't mean money will rain from the sky or that all problems vanish overnight. But it does mean the energy around your ability to receive, grow, and wisely manage resources is expanding fast. If you've been budgeting with care, honoring your commitments, or even just learning how to talk about money with more clarity, you're about to see how that growth pays off. The law of attraction doesn't reward the loudest wish. It responds to inner alignment. And Leo, whether you know it or not, you've been aligning. Still, I want to ground this moment with some practical wisdom. One of the biggest mistakes people make when blessings begin to flow is rushing to catch up with everything they lacked. There's a temptation to overspend, overbook, overcommitting to prove that the abundance is real. But it's already real. You don't need to chase it. You need to respect it. My advice? Whatever comes into your hands in the next few days, hold on to 70% of it. Not out of fear. Out of wisdom. Let it breathe. Let it show you where it wants to grow. Think of money like a garden. If you try to harvest everything at once, you'll miss the cycles. But if you tend to it slowly, intentionally, letting the roots deepen before expansion, what you build becomes sustainable. Right now, your energy is primed for long-term abundance. Not a quick fix. Not a moment of luck. A season of strength. And don't be surprised if the offer that shows up looks different than what you imagined. Sometimes the opportunity that leads to financial transformation comes disguised as something small, something simple, something you almost overlooked. Pay attention. Trust your instincts. If it feels aligned, it probably is. Just make sure you're choosing from a place of calm and clarity, not urgency or scarcity. If you're someone who has carried financial anxiety for a long time, this moment may feel unreal. But it's real. It's just new. So take a deep breath. Let yourself receive. Let yourself trust. And say it out loud, if it helps ground the energy. I receive financial abundance with wisdom and gratitude. If that resonates, write it in the comments below. Let your voice anchor what your heart already knows is true. This isn't just about money. It's about finally realizing that you've always been worthy of more, and now, you're ready to receive it with grace. Let's keep going. The story's only getting better. Dear Leo, you've come such a long way, and now, this is the moment where clarity replaces chaos. Sometimes, we search so hard for answers outside of ourselves, forgetting that the truth was always whispering within. The energy of the Ace of Swords arriving alongside justice is no accident. It's a divine signal that your internal compass has realigned. You're no longer walking in fog. Your soul is standing at the edge of a decision, and for the first time in a long time, you know what's right. You feel it in your gut, in your chest, in that deep inner silence that's been waiting to speak. When the Ace of Swords cuts through, it doesn't just slice illusions, it also offers a crown. A new beginning of truth, led by your higher self. Combined with justice, it's not just about fairness from the outside world, it's a restoration of balance within. You're no longer willing to betray yourself for the sake of comfort. You don't need approval, you need alignment. And that, my dear Leo, is spiritual maturity in motion. Have you felt it lately, that quiet voice growing louder? That urge to stop negotiating with your potential and just live it? That's your intuition, sharpened by cosmic precision. Mercury has finally gone direct, clearing the mental traffic and making space for movement, contracts, travel, conversations that matter. Messages that were stuck are now ready to flow. You've waited, and now, it's your time to make a move, not out of fear, but out of clarity. If you've been in limbo, unsure whether to say yes, to walk away, to start over, this is your divine confirmation. The path is opening. The old confusion is dissolving. But you must choose. You must decide. Because indecision is its own kind of prison, and you've already spent too much time locked behind invisible bars. You may be surprised how fast things shift when you claim what's right for you. The law of attraction doesn't just reward wishes, it rewards action aligned with inner truth. When thought meets bold movement, the universe doesn't delay. It echoes your decision back to you through people, events, and open doors. That's the power of a clear mind in a clear season. And clarity, Leo, is a form of compassion. For yourself. For those you'll no longer mislead just to be liked. For the future you, who is waiting for you to grow into the fullness of your power. I invite you to do something simple yet sacred each morning. Take 7 minutes in stillness. Breathe deeply. Place your hand on your heart and whisper, "I know my path." Let that phrase anchor your nervous system. Let it train your mind to focus. You don't need 1,000 signs when your inner signal is this strong. Even in the busiest lives, there's room to return to what's true. Maybe your world won't shift in one day, but your perception will. And that shift in perception is often the miracle. You are not lost. You are being prepared to make decisions that reflect your growth, not your wounds. The sword is now in your hand. And the truth, it's already in your heart. So, Leo, what are you ready to decide? What choice are you no longer afraid to make? Comment below, "I am ready to choose the path that is right for me." Let this be your declaration to the universe. Let this be the moment where confusion ends and courage begins. Dear Leo, the core message here is simple but powerful. Your foundation is shifting into divine alignment. And that foundation is your family. Whether by blood or chosen tribe, you are being guided toward a deeper anchoring of prosperity through the people closest to your soul's history. When we see the Queen of Pentacles, she reminds us of the sacred role of nurturer and provider, not only for others, but for ourselves. This queen is grounded, wise, and materially blessed, yet her true treasure lies in her ability to create a space where others feel safe, seen, and sustained. For you, Leo, this is not just about money. It's about legacy. You may soon find yourself preparing a space for others to gather. A new home. A celebration. A turning point that reconnects you with your roots, not to stay stuck in the past, but to build from it. Paired with the Four of Wands, the message becomes even more alive. Joy is not meant to be delayed. A reunion, a housewarming, an answered prayer in the form of unity may appear suddenly and beautifully. This card is often seen when spirit is preparing a sacred space for something holy to enter. For you, Leo, that holy thing might be a new chapter where your family becomes your fortress. You're not doing it alone anymore. Then we arrive at the Ten of Pentacles, and this is no small moment. This is spiritual and material inheritance finally arriving. It's the full bloom of years of sacrifice, yours, your parents, your ancestors. You may not even realize the depth of the energetic investments made on your behalf. But heaven knows. And the repayment is arriving through land, legacy, opportunity, or unexpected support. Sometimes the person who lifts you higher is the one you once misunderstood. A relative you drifted from. A sibling you argued with. A grandparent you never fully knew. Don't be surprised if the answers to your financial or emotional prayers show up through old family ties. What felt broken is being mended with divine glue. In numerology, both 4 and 10 are repeating in your field. 4 is the number of stable structure. It's the 4 walls of a house, the 4 legs of a chariot's what holds you up when everything else trembles. 10 is culmination. The inheritance. The family tree bearing fruit after decades of unseen care. Combined, they signal divine timing for grounded abundance that's not fleeting, it lasts for generations. And the colors whispered by spirit? Deep brown for grounding. Cream for healing generational pain. Burgundy for the regal power passed through your bloodline. These are not just color suggestions, theory frequencies that restore what was lost between generations. Leo, if you felt alone, unsupported, or disconnected from your lineage, this is your cosmic reassurance. You are remembered. By your ancestors. By the energy of home. And by the God who watches every tear, every struggle, and every longing. You are not meant to carry it all alone anymore. Someone is coming to help. A home is being opened. And joy is knocking on the door. Let this message sink in. Let it reach the places in you that craved softness, stability, and safety. You're not just building wealth, you're rebuilding a kingdom, brick by brick, heart by heart. Comment below, my family is my anchor of prosperity. Let the universe hear it. Let your soul remember it. Let your future reflect it. When everything you've been asking for starts arriving at the same time, Leo, it's no longer a coincidence, it's your divine timing unfolding. What you just heard in this message is not fantasy, it's prophecy. The universe is responding to every seed you've ever planted with faith. You didn't give up, even when you were weary. You didn't walk away, even when the pain felt unbearable. And now, the reward is undeniable. So let this truth sink in. The good news coming to you is not just a moment, it's a turning point. A culmination. A cosmic yes after 1,000 silent prayers. Some of you will receive a message this week that makes your knees weak with gratitude. Others will experience a breakthrough in money, love, or healing that reminds you that miracles are real and they arrive when your heart is finally open to them. But the question is, will you recognize it when it comes? Or will you question your worth all over again? You have the power to accept this miracle with joy, or to doubt it and delay it. The choice is yours. Can you forgive yourself for those years you didn't believe? Can you accept love now, even if you once pushed it away? Can you open your arms to wealth, even if you were taught it wasn't for you? This moment is not about waiting anymore. It's about welcoming. So let me ask you something, Leo. What if today is the day your life actually begins? What if everything that left was clearing space for the right thing? What if the love, the money, the freedom you've craved is already yours, if you just say yes? If your heart says yes, comment below. I accept my glorious destiny, declare it. Own it. Anchor it into the energetic field. And if you felt something stir within you, whether a chill, a tear, or a full body knowing this message was meant for you. Not someday. Now. Tell me in the comments, what are you calling in? What good news are you ready to receive? What miracle are you no longer afraid to claim? Like this video to amplify your alignment. Subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, because the next video will be your next step. And share this with another Leo who needs to remember they are chosen. Because the truth is, you're not broken. You're blooming. And sometimes, Leo, the tears you cry aren't from pain. They're from finally realizing you made it. And that's the most beautiful miracle of all.